everybody. Okay, so in this video I'm going to be showing you how to cut and sew a basic shirt collar. So now the first thing we are going to do is to measure our neckline round. You can either place your fabric like this and measure this way, like this, and measure this way, or you measure it going round like this. My own round measurement is 17 and divided by 2 is 8.5. So this is the figure I'm going to be working with. The first thing we're going to do is to mark some allowance here, half an inch sewing allowance. So I'm going to roll this like this. And then we're going to mark our 8.5. Your own figure can be different. I'm going to mark it on this paper. Because I'm using here as my center line, I'm just going to place my tape again and mark that 8.5 again. And then I will square up like this. The next thing now is to find the midpoint of that 8.5. So from here to here, what's the midpoint? So I'm just going to place my tape like this, 8.5, just measuring to be sure. And I would find the midpoint like this. Either you just use a calculator that will most likely give you 4.25, or you just fold your tape and it will still give you 4.25. And then I mark 4.25. And on this line, I'm going to come up by half an inch. And then I will join both of them together. I will join this and this. Great, so this is what we have. Now, you're going to decide your collar stand, like how big or small do you want it. Normally, I just use 1 inch because it's not supposed to be so big. So I'm going to mark 1 inch here, all the way. And then I'll use a ruler to join After that, I would use a curve to smoothen it out because I don't want it to be that sharp. This and like this. Okay, great. So now we're just going to finish up. The last thing to do for our collar stand is to mark half inch from here to here and half inch from here to here. And then we just curve it like this. Like this. So we just need to create a curve here. If you have a curve that is small enough to give you this, then you can use that, but this is what I'm going for. And then we're done with the collar stand. Let me label that. And then we're just going to add half an inch sewing allowance all the way around here. That's why I left this space. So now let me just move up a bit and do our collar. I'm going to be extending this my line, this is my 8.5 line. But then I will still measure for accuracy. Here to here. Okay, great, it's perfect, 8.5. And then we're going to determine also how long you want your collar to be. Like, do you want it to be 1, 2, 3? So I'm going to be using 2.5. 2.5, 2.5. And I would join both marks together. Now I would come here and mark 1 inch, and that 1 inch I would join here to create the 1 inch. Create that mark like this. And then on this part of the collar, you're going to come up by half an inch. And I will join here to here. So this is our collar. This is our collar and this is our collar stand. So I'm just going to put half an inch allowance round it, and I'll show you what it looks like before we go to the cutting table. Okay, so this is what I have now. So now we are just going to cut the fabric out and then we'll head to the sewing machine. I forgot to mention that both pieces must be cut on fold. Fold means that it has to be cut here like this. And then same thing for this. Cut on fold as well. Okay, so this is what I have now. 2 pieces of each of them, and then I'm going to be putting interface. I'm going to be putting interface on just one of them. So this is the wrong side and this is the wrong side. So now for this one alone, I would put the interface same as this, just one piece. Okay, we're on the sewing machine now, and the first thing I'm going to sew is my main collar. I'm going to be sewing it using our 0.5 sewing allowance that we already left. So like this, and then you go all the way straight, and then the other side. Okay, this is what we have now. I have sewn that part, and then the first thing I'm going to do before turning it over is to notch and to trim off the excesses. So I need to trim off anything basically that would not make that place to be pointed, and then I would turn it over using a tweezer. I use a tweezer because I always like that pointed place to be really pointed. Okay, so this is what we have, and I'm going to go to the ironing table to get this ironed, and I'm going to be right back. And I'm back. We're going to be sandwiching this main collar into the collar stand. But before we do that, let's notch the midpoint of both of them. The main collar is going to be notched at the bottom, obviously, because the top is already sewn, and then the collar stand is going to be notched at the top because the main collar is going to be sitting at that top part when we sew. So that's what I'm doing right now, just making sure that I notch it and that they meet at the midpoint so that it's not sitting in a funny way. And so I would open this up now, that's the collar stand, and I would place the collar on the collar stand, making sure that all my notch points are meeting each other. And then I would take the second part of the collar stand and cover it like this, and then pin that properly. And so now I'm going to be sewing all the way around. Basically, the shape of that collar stand is what we're going to be following, and we're going to be sewing with half an inch sewing allowance. After sewing your collar like this, make sure to trim, especially that part that is curved, so that it will be able to turn properly and will be able to sit right. So now the next thing for us to do is to sew the collar on the cloth. So there are 2 ways to do it. You can either just fold one side of this in, another side of this in, and then sandwich your neckline in between, or you sew one to it first and then close up with the second one. I'm going to be sewing one to it first and closing up with the second one. So I'll place my collar at the beginning here, then that's where I begin to sew from. So I've attached the collar like this. So this is how it looks. Let me turn this to this other side. Great. So this is how it looks like this. We're almost done. So now I'm just going to head over to the ironing table and fold this in like this, just by the same ½ inch. I'll close it in like this all the way. And then when we come back, we're just going to sew on top of it like a top stitch. Okay, I'm back from the ironing table, and this is what I have. I have pinned and pinned and pinned everything. I ironed it nicely. And so I'm going to be sewing from here all the way till the end. And that is the end of our collar video. Really nice and simple, straightforward. As you can already tell, the secret to like really good sewing and clean sewing is ironing. Ironing at every step. I know it might seem like so much of a hassle, but that is just the secret. If you want really good work, iron as much as you can. Thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you learned a thing or two. Please like, share, subscribe, oh, please subscribe, turn on your notification bell, and I will see you in my next video. Have a productive week. Bye.